everyone. My name is Ligia Naveira. My advisor is Dr. Paul Majewski, and I'm here today to present my research that has the title of Widespread Presence of Short-Chain PFAS in Greenland. Just a bit of a background here. The PFAS, they have been used globally since the 50s in a wide range of industrial applications, also consumer products. Everything from waterproof clothing to non-stick cookware to firefighting foams and food packaging. And their popularity comes from their resistance to heat, to water, oil, stain. It's a very versatile product. And what makes PFAS unique and also problematic is their chemistry. Uh, they are defined by at least one carbon fluorine bond, which is the strongest bond in chemistry. This bond gives PFAS their persistence in the environment, earning them the nickname of forever chemicals. And today we know that there are over 9,000 types of PFAS. And one of the ways to classify them is by the length of the carbon in the chains. In simple terms, short chain PFAS have fewer than 7 carbon atoms, while long chain PFAS have more than 7. The longer the chain, the more likely they are to bioaccumulate in organisms due to their strong affinity to proteins. Because of their persistence and also potential for harm, several of the long chain PFAS have been extensively studied, and a few of them have been restricted or banned in the recent years. However, I will show you today that short chain PFAS are now emerging as a widespread environment concern, even in remote regions like in Greenland. The main sources and pathways of PFAS to the Arctic are long and short range transportation through the ocean and the atmosphere, also in marine aerosols. And PFAS also can be a product of atmospheric oxidation of precursors such as FTOH and also the CFC's replacement. In terms of previous studies in the Arctic, there are a few studies using ice cores that reported PFAS contamination, two of them in the Canadian Arctic, one study in Svalbard that also found PFAS in snow and meltwater, and there are several studies that detected PFAS in seawater and also in the atmosphere. In Greenland, PFAS have been specially detected in biota, reindeer, muskox in West Greenland, and also marine mammals such as ringed seals, whales, and polar bears. Also in Greenland, PFAS has been detected in human blood and serum in East Greenland, especially as a result of their diet based on seals, bears, whales, the high trophic animals. And this paper also showed that the Inuit cohort had the highest non-occupational long-term exposure to PFAS despite their remote locations, and that's because of their diet. Our study is based on 3 field expeditions conducted covering 3 different regions across Greenland. In the coastal regions, the surface water samples they were collected from rivers, lakes, and meltwater streams. In South Greenland, uh, they were collected in 2022 and 2024 during the summer season, while in West Greenland, we collected the samples in May 2024, in the beginning of the melt season. In May 2024, also, the surface snow samples were collected from the Greenland ice sheet, and this work was only possible because of Ramon Lahamendi and the Inuit Winslet team who carried out the sampling across the ice sheet. All of the samples, they were analyzed in the Anatep lab located in Idaho, and they were analyzed for 25 different types of PFAS. The methodology employed was the EPA 533, and major ions and water isotopes, they were also analyzed together with the PFAS. This study provides a large spatial assessment in Greenland, and it aims to quantify the PFAS concentrations in snow and also surface waters to extend the spatial assessment of PFAS across Greenland. And by doing so, we aim to establish an important environmental baseline in the region where data is still very limited, helping to better understand how these persistent chemicals are transported and also deposited in the Greenland ice sheet and also the coast areas. In this first part, I just want to share the key findings from our study of PFAS in the Greenland ice sheet. We detected three short-chain PFAS, PFBA, PFHXA, PFHPA, in snow samples, with PFBA, the shortest one, being the most dominant one. Concentrations of the PFAS ranged from 2.13 to 4.92 nanograms per liter, and PFBA alone had a mean concentration of 1.99 nanograms per liter, showing up in 100% of the samples. Spatially, the highest concentration of PFAS were found in the Southwest Basin, where PFHPA and PFHXA were also found together with FBA. In contrast, in the northern areas, PFBA was the only PFAS detected, and also at lower concentrations. Major ion concentrations were also higher in the south and lower in the north. Here we see the total accumulation precipitation map on the left here from May and June 2024, and for the wind for the same period. The PFAS pattern also correlates with the Era 5 climate data with higher precipitations right here in the lower and lower wind speeds in the south, in which we can see that favors the wet deposition of PFAS. I can show you the map. While in the north, here, the area, stronger winds and lower precipitation may limit deposition despite the potential for the long-range transport. PFAS and also ion concentrations indicate here the role of precipitation patterns in impacting the deposition across the ice sheet. In South and West Greenland, we investigated PFAS in running water bodies. In West Greenland, right here on the top, samples that were collected in the beginning of the melting season in May, and the PFAS concentration ranged from 2.03 to 8.1 nanograms per liter. PFBA, the orange one, were especially high, ranging up to 4.11 nanograms per liter, and in the south, concentrations were much lower, ranging from 0.51 to 1.60 nanograms per liter, and the PFNA, the purple one, was the only long-chain PFAS detected here. And it's interesting that despite the seasonal difference and also the geography, we went there in two different times, the PFAS profile was very similar. Another important point is the PFBA in orange was particularly found nearby communities, so it is possible that there is any type of local source contributing to its presence. To wrap up, let's take a bigger look of PFAS transport and the position in Greenland. On the left, you can see the emissions from industrial and also populated regions of PFAS, but also the volatile precursors like FTOH and HFCs. Once in the atmosphere, chemical reactions may occur and form short-chain PFAS, which then can be deposited in Greenland, especially through atmospheric deposition and especially wet deposition in areas with higher snowfall, where precipitation can remove PFAS from the atmosphere in this process called scavenging. Our study found that PFBA was present in 32 out of 45 samples in 100% of the samples of the Greenland ice sheet, strongly following precipitation patterns, which also supports PFAS found in ICECORE previous study, which point out that PFBA increased it right after the introduction of the CFC's replacements after the Montreal Protocol. In the coastal regions in the West Greenland, we observe it also high PF concentrations in surface water, possibly to scavenging mechanisms and possible local emissions. As glacial melt accelerates, this could mean increasing PFAS inputs into the Arctic ecosystem. Key takeaways, short chain PFAS are widespread in Greenland, PFBA detected in all of the snow samples, wet deposition, as I mentioned, are likely to drive special patterns across Greenland. And also, very important, the findings, they underscore the need for monitoring and also regulation of short chain PFAS. Lastly, I just would like to thank everyone that made this work happen. Thank you so much.